Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Build Show. I'm John Peitzman, JP, certified high-performance coach and creator of the Build Framework. I help individuals and teams thrive in their personal and professional lives all over the world. And as your host of this show, our aim is to help transform lives one guest at a time. And we do that how? By having amazing guests. And today is absolutely no exception. We have a truly amazing guest, Dr. John Gray. John Gray is the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. USA Today listed his book as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. In hardcover, it was the #1 best-selling book of the 1990s. His bestsellers are translated into approximately 45 languages in over 100 countries around the world. He's appeared repeatedly on Oprah as well as The Dr. Oz Show, Today, CBS This Morning, Good Morning America, and others. He was also the subject of a 3-hour special hosted by Barbara Walters. And now, can you believe it, he's actually joining us here on The Build Show. It's my true honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you, coming all the way from California in the United States via video technology, the one, the only, Dr. John Gray. John, welcome to The Build Show.
Well, I'm really happy to be with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, absolutely. So what are you excited about right now as we sit here and connect around the world?
Well, I'm working on, because I'm not traveling much, I've developed a whole website with online courses, one on sex, one for women only, understanding how men will go into their man cave, how to get them out, why they go in. It's a whole thing that helps women understand men better. That will make the world a better place, I think.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your genius in helping the sexes understand each other, because through that understanding, relationships are built and the world transforms, like you said, to a more impressive place and more beneficial place for all. So thank you for all the work that you do. I know for those of you who are new to the Build Framework, we use this show to kind of walk through that framework with our guests, and the Build Framework, for those of you who are still learning, is an acronym. Stands for Build Relationships, Understand the Business, Implement Strategies, Lead and Inspire, and Deliver Excellence. And what I love about this show is that even though the framework is the same, the guests all have a unique insight and stories that they share about their personal journey as it relates to the Build Framework. So let's jump right in, John, and talk about, you know, the master of building relationships is obviously you, so we could spend the whole time just on that. But if you look at the first category, B, build relationships, and maybe your own personal life and some of the most impactful or important relationships that you've had in your life that you'd like to share with our guests. I mean, what would you say about that category for you in build relationships?
Well, everything is relationships, really. At workplace, at home, with your children, with your body. Life is relationships. But my specialty is the men and women, because there's so much misunderstanding about men and women. Women don't understand us. Men don't understand women. But we think we do. That's it, you know. That's the problem. So when I point out all these different examples in my many books, people go, oh, that's what's going on. Oh, that's what's going on. And I'm really most grateful all this is to my wife, Bonnie. Now, we're married for 34 years. She passed 3 years ago. Sad story with cancer, but, you know, I'm moving on now, a lot of grieving and so forth. And, you know, beginnings and endings are a big part of life. And if you do it right, or the way I suggest that really works for me, is every ending creates a foundation for a better beginning. And many people, when they end relationships, they feel victimized rather than empowered by understanding their mistakes. Sometimes people think, oh, you know, it's all my partner's fault. And we really want to recognize that if you want to make relationships better, certainly there's things you can criticize your partner for, complain, because nobody's perfect. But people are really in the dark when it comes to understanding how they unknowingly contribute to the problems, and ultimately they're no victims.
Right, and taking that accountability, I love that, and actually learning what we can learn from those relationships in our lives. And I loved what you said too, as tragic as it is, and I'm so sorry for your loss, but when that happens, that we actually embrace that as an opportunity in a way for a new beginning. And that's true so much in relationships in our entire lives.
Yeah, and you know, with my experience of many losses in my life, my brother committed suicide. Another brother died of cancer. My father was found dead in the trunk of his car. He picked up a hitchhiker who robbed him and left him in the trunk. A lot of tragedies in my life. you learn how to grieve. And so when you move on to positivity, there's always a gift in it, but you also have to go through the process of feeling your emotions, go through your feelings. And each time it opens your heart up even more. And that becomes a foundation for a greater happiness in life and greater love. In a sense, some of the old teachers will say, you don't really learn to love until you've had a broken heart. And I
I
think the
love
same
that.
thing in the business world. If we expect every plan to work, we're unrealistic and we'll beat ourselves up, as opposed to realizing that entrepreneurs make mistakes. We learn from them, we grow from it, we learn how to pivot. And that's the most important thing.
Right. In a way, your heart needs to break in order for it to truly open.
Yeah, yeah. We tend to take things for granted, and it's natural, it's normal. As a writer, I remember back when we had the old computers that would crash all the time, and I'd be struggling with a chapter. It's like a work of art, and you kind of like, I don't know if I like this. It's not working. Maybe I'll just get rid of this and do something easier. And then you lose it because it crashes. And then in your mind, you go, oh my God, that was the best thing I've ever written. I can't believe it. I lost it. I'll never be able to recreate it. It's a normal phenomenon of human beings to take for granted what you have. Even my home, I live in a beautiful place, but you get used to it. And then you go on a nice vacation somewhere and that's all new and different. You come back and you go, oh, I love my home. It's so beautiful.
Right.
So, it's, in a sense, distance makes the heart grow fonder. And that's one of the key factors of my Men Are From Mars message, which is men have a built-in mechanism that says you can't have too much intimacy, otherwise things go down. And what I mean by that is intimacy, connection, relationship, love, empathy, all that good stuff, joy, happiness. For men, if you have too much of that, you do it for a while, female hormones get produced called estrogen, and estrogen lowers his testosterone, and testosterone is very important to men, not to take it, but to make it. And basically, whenever you feel disconnected, you feel positive and you're doing something on your own, your testosterone levels go up. And men need about 10 to 20 times more testosterone than women do. Otherwise, they're depressed or they're angry. Either one are all symptoms of low testosterone in men.
Thus the man cave is so important in a way.
So important. That's where, I think when people read my book, Men Are From Mars, that's one of the major things, that the takeaways. Women will say, oh, I finally understood the man cave. Why my husband just will detach. I blame myself, or I thought he was angry with me. He just needs his alone time. Independence is what it is. Being in charge of yourself, not seeking the approval of anybody else, or feeling a lot of love even for someone else. You have to come back to doing something on your own. And when you do that, testosterone levels have a chance to build up. So for me, some of the best intimate experiences of my whole marriage is one time I went on a 3-week tour. Now, certainly I called my wife every day, but boy, when I got home, it was memorable.
Right. I love that. And I love that transition then into you, which is understand the business, right? Some build relationships, then you understand the business, and we just understood a lot of it right there. But what are some things specifically from a standpoint of understand the business that you think are important to share with our listeners today?
Well, the same factor in relationships. It's the number one key is to feel trust. When I feel that I can make a mistake, I'm not going to be punished. My partner's not going to withhold from me. That makes everything wonderful. When a woman's upset or bothered, or maybe she's a little too complaining, if she has trust that he'll hear that and not be upset with her, it makes a big, big difference. Now, the same thing happens in business. All success in business is building trust. The success of my books, basically, and what I do is that people trust my message because they relate to it. Some people don't relate to it. Not everybody relates to my message. And so they don't trust me. And that's okay. There's not one solution for everything. But when it comes to men and women, there's a lot of common misinterpretations. And when you're in the workplace, understanding this as well can be very, very helpful. Because if you're working with a woman, a team of women, selling to a woman, interacting with a woman, whether you be a man or a woman, to understand that trust is built when somebody feels heard. And to feel heard doesn't mean you finish their sentences. It means patiently let them finish their sentences. And when it seems that they're done, then you say, what else? And then you say, help me understand that better. These are magic $1 million phrases that we need to recognize. And then when we're working on teams, if something's bothering us, rather than create a drama, which does not work, and our whole built-in resentment inside, we can basically minimize whatever our reaction is. Instead of primitive behavior of to get attention, you get all upset. That's very much of a monkey behavior. Right. Instead, you say, this is not a big deal, but this is what would work for me best. What will work for you? That's what we have to understand in the workplace, is that negative emotions don't work. But not just that, but positive attitude, positive approaches, taking into consideration when you say something, how is that going to land with the other person? And now when you're a woman selling to a man, working with a man, understanding that testosterone is a primary hormone that men require to trust you and to open up and serve you and do their best and have positive feelings towards you, just to learn these 3 simple statements. You're right is one. That makes sense to me. Another one is, what a good idea. Amazing.
All positive affirmations, right?
Yes, positive affirmation, like right there. But understand, it's designed to pump up testosterone. Testosterone is will lower stress in men. It doesn't necessarily lower stress in women. It's not bad for women. It just doesn't give them a big perk. So when you're dealing with a man, make sure that you're minimizing any disappointment, discouragement, negativity, or asking these rhetorical questions like, why would you do that? How could you forget? These are things that just don't work. And while a woman doing that would not think it's such a bad thing, but she doesn't have a male body. She doesn't have the realization that messages of lack of success, meaning you didn't do your job, you need me to fix it or help you or something.
You failed,
for it. That bumps up testosterone. So again, for women, whether you're at home, in the workplace, you're working with men, or your husband comes home, or you come home to see your husband, he's talking, what a good idea. Well, that makes sense. Well, you're right about that. Amazing. So these are phrases, positive affirmation, that pump up testosterone. Now, phrases of positive affirmation that truly pump up, those are good for women as well. But more importantly for women is messages that say, I hear you. So questions like, help me understand this better. Tell me more. What else? This really builds a hormone inside of a woman's body called oxytocin. Oxytocin means she feels safe. Then her estrogen levels will start to rise. And it's her estrogen levels that rise that lower stress levels for her. It's very powerful once you understand our biological differences. It's universal. Every woman has a different hormone set, very similar to each other, but very foreign to every man. And every man has a hormone set very, very similar to every man. Very similar, some variations. Some men need to make more testosterone. Others don't need to make it as much, but always 10 to 20 times higher than a woman. So this is how you motivate people to be their best, and learning how to communicate in a way that fulfills their biological need to feel that I am needed and I can get what I need. Both those things.
What an amazing understanding. And I see the perfect scenario there where the guy comes home and she says, you're right. And he says, tell me more about that. It's perfect, right? It just is perfect for everyone.
That's also good. That's also good. Let me say another thing. Sometimes men think women, their wives are too negative. She comes home and she's complaining from her job or whatever. Men don't understand the biology of women. Think back for thousands of years, a woman living in a village, basically pregnant most of the time, for breastfeeding, depending on men to protect her, because they didn't have the baby and they weren't breastfeeding and so forth. And they didn't always have all the warfare skills. So she's a woman in a village and she sees a tiger and everybody's sleeping. Now she's going to feel stressed out because nobody's going to help her get rid of that tiger. First thing she has to do is set off the alarm. If she sets off the alarm, then she's no longer accountable or responsible in order to protect everybody from the tiger. She's got help. Anytime women can sound the alarm, actually their hormone estrogen goes up and her stress hormones go down. She's a happier woman. So sometimes women just need to vent. And if men can understand this, it's basically count the sentences, and the more sentences you can listen to without reacting with a solution or rolling your eyes or correcting her or judging her, the more words she could say, the more points you're going to get. You're going to get a gold star. You're the hero, because it literally pumps up her estrogen levels. And when they get to a healthy level, then suddenly her brain stops focusing on problems and focuses on solutions and sees that you are the solution, and you get big rewards.
Right. Awesome. I hope everyone is writing these jewels down. This is an amazing, amazing opportunity to get
Now, let me
direct
add one
from the
more thing to
genius.
that.
Yeah.
Men, you're the warrior. So if you're in the jungle and there's a tiger, what's your objective? You have to be quiet. Don't talk. See, men, you get into trouble when you're upset and you start talking and raising your voice. Whenever you're upset and you talk, your
It's a
estrogen
bad
levels go
combination,
up,
right?
your testosterone goes down, and you're not very appealing to women at all. So learn how to just nip it, just stop talking. Say, if you're upset with her, nobody's perfect. We get upset because we misunderstand. That's the only reason we get upset. We don't understand. So
Right.
when we're not understanding, we think what we're doing is working and it doesn't work, then we get mad at them. If you're mad or angry with a woman when you're talking, you need to nip it. You need to say, look, I need to cool down. I need to think about this. This isn't your fault. I need to just reflect on it for a while and go to your cave until you feel good. And then come back and be a gentleman.
And that's a great segue into implement strategies, and that's one right there, right? What are some other strategies, like specific, when we talk about I in the build framework, right? Implement strategies that people could actually implement right now, you think, to make their relationships
Well,
work?
I've been focusing on that strategy over and over because it's a takeaway that you can use right now, which is when you're working with a woman, when you're in a relationship with a woman, when you're dealing with your children, and they speak, take time. And it's the same for boys and girls. A little boy up to about 13 has the estrogen levels of a little girl. So she's going to have the same needs as a little girl. It changes once he's gone through puberty.
Right.
But this need to communicate is very, very important. And the strategy is don't interrupt her. Like, man says, oh, I got it. I understand. Well, that just told her you don't understand because you didn't give her a chance to finish talking. So don't finish her sentences. And men don't know that. They think, hey, if she wants to be understood, I got it. That just says she's not important to you. Another one is basically when you're upset and you're a man, take time to do something to make you feel good. And then your anger will go away. Your frustration will go away. If you talk, it only gets worse. I just want to emphasize that. Just think back to your experiences, men, of talking, and it just turns into an argument. So the option here is simply to say, I need to take some time. You try to do as politely as possible instead of like, I'm done with this. I'm out of here. Okay. These build walls in a relationship. And I'll just share a story to help people remember this little strategy. After many years of my wife realizing that when I take time away, I always come back with more affection and more love. That's the key to it. That's what accountability does. It wasn't but a few years later in the relationship, or one time I took my time, went to my cave. I came back and she says, honey, thanks so much for taking a time out. You protected me from the dragon that lives in there. And that's the truth. Every man's got a dragon inside. And what happens is if you're arguing, you have a difference of opinion, cool off. And now for women, when they're all upset and whatever, and he takes his time, what you got to do? Some women say, well, what do? I say, have a life. Have other people you can talk to. Call your coach, call your girlfriend, write a letter to God. Express those feelings because you need to articulate them into words, into communication. And what's interesting, then your brain will start producing estrogen. When estrogen goes up, then your blood flow goes to the part of the brain that remembers good things rather than just focusing on bad things. Another strategy is make sure if your wife's upset, girlfriend's upset, any female's upset, feed them. Literally, men and women are very different biologically, and that women, when their blood sugar drops, it crashes. For men, it slowly goes down. So it's not like a dramatic change. It's kind of like grandma would always say when we came over to her house, have you eaten? Have you eaten? And trying to put food in us because she knows that when people are hungry, particularly women, if they don't have a steady supply of blood sugar, then they experience temporary amnesia and they forget any good thing about you. Now, the mistake men make at that time is when she's forgotten any good thing, we remind her, oh, you shouldn't be upset with me. I did this for you and I did this for you. She said, but you never do this. And he said, no, I do that. As soon as you hear words like never and always and nobody, these big hyperboles, just know she needs more estrogen and don't correct her. Instead, feed her with questions. Well, help me understand that better. And what would you have liked? Well, that sounds good. What else? Get her talking, because talking is the therapy for women when they're upset. And many women don't talk. Many women don't even know they need to talk, because when they did at some point, it didn't feel good because somebody made them wrong. But we've learned now in psychology and in coaching and so forth that when people can talk about things, they can work it out. It's just a process of working it out. And the same thing for men. If you're all emotionally upset, you can talk to somebody as long as you're not trying to change that person, as long as that person is not the person who's upsetting you. Talking in that sense can be good. But the first thing is pump up your testosterone a bit by doing something that you're good at. Go to the gym, work out, go jogging, go play a video game for a little while, go watch a football game, whatever it is. These things build testosterone in men, which is why it's often our go-to to reduce stress.
Oh, amazing strategies. Thank you so much for those jewels. How about leading and inspiring, the L in the BUILD framework? How do you think we can most effectively lead and inspire? And how do you lead and inspire in your life?
Well, I think that, again, I'm going to focus there on gender, although I am a leader. And the way I lead is by being positive and authentic. And that means when I communicate, I take into consideration not just what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling or what I want to say. I take into consideration how that's going to land on the other person, how they're going to hear it, how they're going to be affected by it. And I love to lead. I'm an inspiration to other people because I stay true to complete integrity and honesty. I'm an open book. You can ask me anything and I talk. I share stories, examples of how I've learned this, what I'm going through. I think being an authentic person is the ultimate leader, as long as your authentic self is your true self. Keep in mind that all of us as human beings are basically fulfilled deep inside, full of love, full of happiness, full of courage, full of strength, integrity, all the positive values. That's who we are. And so if you're stressed out, you're not who you are. So at those times, I make sure I go somewhere else to get back to who I truly am. And I speak when I'm authentically open and focused. I'm not always so loving John Gray. Sometimes I'm a little depressed even. Then I'll go be alone. Sometimes I'm cynical. I get mad sometimes at the news, what they're saying, what they're doing, and the governments. Okay, then that's when I don't go out and talk to the world. I process that inside, but I listen to myself. I transform it until I am an example of positivity and inspiration, which comes along as confidence. You know, confidence is a number key factor for men's testosterone to go up. And of course, the other side of it to build trust is love. And I love what I do. That's another positive example of a leader, is to be passionate and loving what you do. No complaints. That's another one. I never complain. I can correct. I can say, this is what I like you to do. This is going to work better. These are the things that people need to see and hear. And unfortunately, in the realm of relationships, we've lost connection. In America, 70% of Black children don't even know their fathers. This is the breakdown of our culture. This is why there's so much violence here. The second thing is you got 40% of white children don't know their parents. Their parents aren't together. So we really need to help men and women stay together, good communication skills. And if it's absolutely necessary to get a divorce, make sure that they learn how they still reflect on that relationship, how they think about that spouse has a huge impact on their children. Huge. Should never say bad things about your ex. Always try to have a positive attitude and understanding that, you know, they're doing the best. It just didn't work for me. And this is what we have to work on within ourselves. And our first responsibility, of course, is ourselves, our intimate relationships, and our children. These are like very, very important. Then we can branch out to other things. That's my approach to this, because your true authentic self grows through intimacy. It's really easy for me to go out in the world with an audience of people I don't know and be so positive. But can you be positive when somebody is, you depend on them, you need them, they're a source of love for you, you're responsible for them? That's the real test of being an authentic human being. And that inspires people and it motivates people.
Well, I can tell you right now, you're leading and inspiring like none other right now to all of our audience and everyone who's listening to this. So thank you so much. That was very, very inspiring. And finally, in the BUILD framework, we have D, deliver excellence. So what does excellence mean to you? How do you deliver excellence every day? And maybe tie that to like excellence of relationships too. But yeah, D, deliver excellence.
Excellence comes along with commitment. So there's commitment for excellence. And you know, there's so many times you can just take the easy road as opposed to looking at what's most difficult. That's often what I do. It's just like, what's the most difficult thing? Or what is it that I'm resisting and procrastinating? That just weakens my soul rather than taking action. So taking action is like one of the key things. Writing all these books, for example, not easy. It's not easy. Somebody, a lot of people tell me that, oh, I love writing, I just don't have time. Do you think I had time to write these books? and when you take the time it takes to write books, how much time away from your family it is, how much time it away from fun things it is. So part of life is a balance of discipline, which realizes life is trade-offs. You don't always get what you want and do what you like, particularly if you're a man. You see, whenever you sacrifice for a noble cause, okay, I'm giving up something I'd like to do because it's of service, or it will make the world a better place, or it will support my family. That's the experience if I have to do something. And to do that without grumbles, without whining, without complaining, that is the most powerful thing for men. Now, the opposite of this is true for women. It's the opposite. When you have to sacrifice your happiness to get something done, you're actually making testosterone and your estrogen's going down, and it creates more stress. Ironically, as a marriage counselor, we all know that giving is the secret to life, giving of ourselves, loving, sharing, making a difference. Oh my gosh, so much. But when women come to counseling who've been married for many years and they're very unhappy, the solution, what they say, the problem is I've given too much. So what does it mean to give too much? What it means, and they often do it as a virtue signal. And I'm sorry to sound like that. When I hear it, I go, oh, well, you're a good person. You just don't know your job in this world, which is learn how to receive. Receiving is the gift to a man. If you want to be the best partner to the man, it means you're good at receiving. And what are symptoms of being good at receiving? Happiness. What are symptoms? Gratitude, trust, forgiveness. These are all qualities we all have to learn to do, but it's the big challenge for women. Often when women are not getting what they need, rather than learn how to ask for it in a nice way, rather than learning how to put out a positive message about what they have, and then you can ask for more as a preference rather than a demand, rather than keep your unhappiness hidden inside, which only makes you more unhappy, is learn how to receive love. And ultimately, it's not just about any place in your life where you're unhappy. Quite often, you're looking for happiness in the wrong direction. This is a very important thing. I wrote a whole book called How to Get What You Want What You Have. And I think that's the secret of my success, because whenever I feel like I'm frustrated, I'm not getting enough over here, whether it be my relationship, whether it be my work, whether it be having fun in life, when life feels like a struggle, I'm always looking in the wrong place. So my mother taught me this. She was an incredibly happy woman. 7 children, 6 boys, if you can imagine that.
Oh my goodness.
She was so grateful to my dad, who had very few relationship skills, except that he was a good provider and he was a policeman, so he could police the kids. That's all she really needed.
Perfect.
Women were so much simpler then. And why are they more complicated today? Only because the world has changed, and it's a good step forward. We just have to figure out how to adjust ourselves to it. Because as women become more independent, which is good, education, self-sufficiency, they don't get stuck in dangerous situations. That independence is great, except independence makes testosterone. So women have to learn, how can I be independent and also be on my female side, which is based upon estrogen, 10 times more estrogen, 20 times more estrogen a woman needs to make in order to feel love and romance. Those wonderful feelings that we have at the beginning of relationships, you can sustain for a lifetime once you learn all the secrets of generating estrogen. And it's simply put, and it's more complicated in that book, Beyond Mars and Venus, is my 10-year study on women's hormones and men's hormones. Nobody's ever done it before. But anyway, it's basically whenever you depend on someone, you anticipate getting what you need, your estrogen levels go up. And in my book on success, you have to realize relationships is just one need. We have a need for joy and happiness. We have a need for education. We have a need for some higher power, spirituality. We have a need to work and earn a living. We have a need to have unconditional love. A dog even would be good. Right. If you don't have children, a garden, nature. These are all needs that we have. And whenever you're not feeling I'm getting what I want, it's because you're not getting what you need and you're looking in the wrong direction. So my mother always taught me, if you're not getting what you want, you're looking in the wrong direction, because the grace of life, and she's a very spiritual woman, is that you always have what you need. It's always available to you. And if you think it's not, you're looking in the wrong direction. You're expecting this person to make you happy sometimes when it's your job to be happy. And that's my favorite takeaway of all my books, which is in relationships, our partner's job is not to make us happy. Our job is to be happy. Their job is to make us happier. Then there's no blame. If we can make that a priority, when you're unhappy, focus on your other needs and then come back with more love to give. And then you don't resent giving so much.
Absolutely. So that excellence comes from within, 100%.
100%.
So, look, I'd love to talk to you all day long. This has been an amazing conversation. But as we wrap things up here, I guess, how can people get a hold of you and learn more about your books? And if they don't know, I don't know what planet they're on, but the new courses you're creating, all the other stuff that's coming up, if they want to learn more about that stuff, what can they do? How can they contact you?
Certainly. It's simple. It's marsvenus.com. John Gray, or Google search John Gray Mars Venus, it will come up, but marsvenus.com. And we have a free class for people. It's right there on the front page. Awesome. It's how to get everything you want in relationships. We get rave reviews. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get it tomorrow. It means to start moving in the direction of getting everything you want in your relationships. It is possible with the right training. We all deserve love. And so that website's there. And there's also an academy where we have different classes and courses, and it's all available to people. We even have a coach training program to teach people, add the Mars Venus insights to your coaching. So I'm a big fan of coaching. I think everybody needs to find a coach these days. You know, when it comes to physical fitness, you know, that hasn't ever been a big theme in my life, but I have a coach. And so now I'm like, can push twice as much weight. I'm twice as strong as I was. I'm 70 years old. You know, we all have our weaknesses, and you need to find a coach to build you up in that area. So I'm a big fan of that. I know, JP, you do a lot of coaching, and I think people are very lucky to be connected to you.
Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you for being on the show today. Thank all of you for joining us here as well. For more great resources to help you become your best self, including free worksheets and downloads, make sure to check out thebuildframework.com. That's it for this episode. I'm JP. We'll see you next time on The Build Show.